Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Nothing imminent or positive to report on Cam Hayward extension, analyst says. Cameron Hayward will soon have to make a decision, it seems. The Pittsburgh Steelers open training camp in less than a week, and he is no closer to a new contract. There are no indications that the team even intends to give him one, so what will he decide? Will he show up but not practice, as many players now do, a hold-in? Hayward is fortunate in the sense that the last time he was up for a contract, it was in 2020. The Steelers held a closed training camp with no preseason that year during the COVID-19 pandemic, so he avoided all of the media drama. Deontay Johnson certainly did not fare as well later on, nor did TJ Watt. But at the end of the day, Cameron Hayward is 35 years old and coming off a significant injury. No matter how good he is, a part of him has to understand the front office perspective. Is it a good investment to commit more money to him under the circumstances? I don't think that there's anything really imminent or positive, Aditi Kinkhabwala said on 93.7 The Fan yesterday, when asked for an update on the Hayward situation. She went on to contrast the tone to last year with Alex Highsmith, who signed a new deal. You can get a sense that, okay, even though Alex isn't necessarily going to say anything right now, things are moving along in a very positive vein, she recalled of the Highsmith negotiations. I don't think that that's the situation here. There's nothing new to report right now on that front. That's all I'll say. Hayward skipped the first 2 weeks of OTAs to prove his seriousness about wanting a new contract. He had never skipped OTAs before, and he is a team captain, so he didn't take that step lightly. But he ultimately caved and reported for the final week of OTAs, and he participated in mandatory minicamp. Players are subject to automatic fines if they are under contract and skip training camp, giving rise to the hold-in. Rather than holding out, players report to camp and participate in every way except on the field. This is what Watt and Johnson did, and what Hayward did in 2020, only the outside didn't know. Hayward is well within his rights to do so, but the problem is it won't make a difference. The Steelers don't care if he practices, and Mike Tomlin would give him ample days off, anyway. I'm not sure how much a hold-in on his part would even be noticeable, in that sense. Considering he did take the field during OTAs, which are voluntary, however, I don't see Hayward holding in. At the same time, I don't know that I see the Steelers signing him to an extension either. They are already paying him $16 million to play this season, so it's not like he's suffering financially. If I were to guess, I would surmise that Kinkhabwala is right. Nobody imminent or positive is going on in talks between Cameron Hayward and the Pittsburgh Steelers, I imagine. The Steelers know they can wait until after this season because he doesn't want to play anywhere else. Call it exploiting his loyalty if you want, but that is reality. Former Bills LB Tyler Matakevich signs back with Pittsburgh Steelers. A Buffalo Bills special teams mainstay has found a new, though very familiar home. Linebacker Tyler Matakevich signed a 1-year contract to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, the team and head coach who originally selected him in the 7th round of the 2016 NFL Draft. Some might see this as a move by the Steelers to gain intel, though hardly necessary for a midsummer joint practice or preseason game. Instead, it may have more to do with a head coach looking to gain an advantage amid the revamped kickoff rules. There are likely to be a lot of special teams changes in the NFL in 2024. The new kickoff rules will have teams scouring spring league football tape for strategies. Different types of special teams tactics will be discussed in meeting rooms. Returners will have to learn new skills to identify creases in blocking that look different than they're used to. Players with the experience and skill to play special teams as well as Matakevich will likely see an increased demand. For Matakevich, he's back in the Steel City for at least the 2024 season, with ESPN's Adam Schefter first sharing the news late on Wednesday. As mentioned above, it's a homecoming for Matakevich, who was drafted by the Steelers 9 seasons ago after playing college football at Temple. The 246th overall pick, Matakevich has already carved out an 8-year career through his special teams prowess. He was playing the majority of special teams snaps for Pittsburgh by the time his rookie season came to a close, and he continued to excel in that arena throughout his first NFL contract. Matakevich signed with the Bills in 2020, originally agreeing to a 2-year deal, and he actually ended up signing 2 more deals with Buffalo, a 1-year extension in 2021 and a 2-year extension in 2023. He was a team captain multiple seasons during his time with the Bills as well. Matakevich leaves the Bills having amassed 55 tackles, 1 interception, and 3 passes defensed in 66 regular season games. Brandon Aiyuk trade request fuels Steelers fans' dream scenario. Pittsburgh Steelers fans have dreamed of their team landing wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk in a trade this offseason. And although Tribliv.com's Mark Madden called it silly, that dream doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon. Especially not after Aiyuk officially requested a trade from the San Francisco 49ers on July 16. Source: 49ers All-Pro WR Brandon Aiyuk has officially requested a trade after an off-season of unsuccessful attempts to reach an extension, wrote NFL Network's Mike Garafolo. Despite a recent meeting, the Niners haven't been willing to engage in negotiations since May, so Aiyuk has respectfully asked out. NFL insider Michael Lombardi reported on May 30 during an appearance on the GM Shuffle podcast that the Steelers nearly traded for Aiyuk during the first round of the 2024 NFL Draft. Clearly, there was interest from the Steelers in Aiyuk a few months ago. But there's a couple obstacles to Pittsburgh acquiring the 26-year-old wideout. Whatever the Steelers offered for Aiyuk in April was obviously not enough. Talks then stalled, so that likely means the Steelers were not willing to meet San Francisco's demands. Perhaps Aiyuk's trade request will lower his trade price. But the 49ers have the leverage in contract negotiations with the receiver, so they do not have to trade the receiver. With his trade request, other teams could also potentially inquire about Aiyuk. Therefore, the Steelers may have to increase their offer for Aiyuk despite the receiver's trade request. Then after landing Aiyuk, which will likely cost the Steelers at least a first-round pick, Pittsburgh will have to sign the receiver to a contract extension. Spotrac projected Aiyuk to be worth $106 million on a 4-year contract. That would give Aiyuk an average annual salary of $26.5 million. But he could be seeking a lot more, considering 3 receivers signed deals that gave them an average annual salary of more than $30 million this offseason. The Steelers will likely continue to be mentioned among possible Aiyuk suitors because of how close they came to nearly acquiring him in April. But Pittsburgh's receiving depth is the other reason to connect the Steelers to Aiyuk. George Pickens is the only wideout on the Steelers roster who had at least 210 receiving yards last season. This offseason, the Steelers acquired Van Jefferson, Quez Watkins, and Scotty Miller, all of whom have posted a 500-yard season in their careers. Pundits have also mentioned third-year receiver Calvin Austin III as a possible breakout candidate. But all 4 of those wideouts have significant questions about whether they can be a WR2 for Pittsburgh. Aiyuk would arrive with the Steelers as a WR1 and move Pickens, who led the NFL in yards per catch last year, back into his WR2 role from 2022 to 23. Last season, Aiyuk had 75 catches for 1,342 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns. If the Steelers add him to the roster, they will have a pair of receivers who averaged at least 17.9 yards per catch during 2023. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Brandon Aiyuk? Leave your opinion in the comments.